Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Friends, so my topic was chosen by Ayya. So I gave her the choice. There were two things that I wanted, I had in mind. One was a sutta, another was just Mettā. So she said Mettā would be good. So therefore, I said okay. And so now let us look at this topic that we have chosen for today. Now, actually, Mettā belongs to a certain category of meditation subjects, you could call it, or you could just say factors that form into one group called the Brahma Viharas. Now, I will have to explain, I think, what Brahma Viharas are, because there may be some who don't understand, perhaps, I don't know. Now, there are four sections in it. That is Mettā, Karuna, Mudita, Bhikkhuni. Now, let me give you in English. Mettā, my guru, that is Bhante Gunaratana, always says that the word Mettā, though it is usually given as loving kindness, it is really loving friendliness. Anyway, either way, it's okay whether you call it loving kindness or loving friendliness. That is Mettā. Then the second one is Karuna. Karuna means kindness. So that is why he says it's a repetition when you say loving kindness. So anyway, the second one is kindness, Karuna. Then the third one is Mudita. That means altruistic joy. Then the fourth one is equanimity, Bhikkhuni, right? So now I will just briefly go through these four also before I come to the actual topic. Now, why are they called Brahma Viharas? Now, the word Vihara means someone is living it, or someone is practicing it, or in it, or that whatever the object is belongs to that person. So, when you say Brahma Viharas, now you know that there are, according to the sutras, and Buddha has said that there are a section of people, not I don't know whether to call whether the word people is correct, but beings, let us say, called Brahmas, not Brahmins, not Brahmins who, you have heard of the word Brahmins in India and so on, not those, but celestial beings called Brahma, right? And these Brahmas have these four qualities, right? The four qualities that I just mentioned, they have these four qualities. And because they are people, they are beings who have attained to the Brahma world by practicing jhana. Jhana is jhana means, now when we meditate, we expect to get concentrated, right? We expect our minds to be concentrated. And when they get concentrated to a certain degree, you say that you have attained the first jhana. And there are four jhanas. So when they have, attained to the first jhana, and in this world, I think, as human beings, if they die, they might be born in a certain Brahma world. So according to the state of the jhana, 1, 2, 3, 4, they get born into the Brahma world. And they have practiced these four holding. Okay, uh, so now let us see what are these qualities. They are all qualities of the mind, really, but they can be practiced also. So now, when we practice metta, it could be meditation, metta meditation, right? Loving friendliness or loving kindness meditation, which we practice. Then, so it can be turned into action too, but mostly it is in the mind, and it is a kind of way of radiating this loving friendliness towards everyone. We'll come to that later. Now we'll come to the next one, that is karuna or kindness. Now kindness is the actual action that loving friendliness or kindness turns into action when it becomes kindness. Because now when you see someone very sad or in a state of some kind of tragedy or some kind of pain or some kind of suffering, right? Your heart also begins to quiver, begins to, beat uh, along with that person and think, that person needs some kind of help, and you want to help. Now that is kindness. So that you put it into action. You try to alleviate that other person's suffering in some way or other. Not everybody will do that, right? So therefore, to have that kind of temperament, to have that kind of attitude towards life is a gain for the person who is practicing this Brahma Viharas. So the third one is altruistic joy. I think that is one of the most difficult ones, isn't it? So because now you see your neighbor having a very beautiful and very costly car or something, and you see it and you think, maybe I can have that. It is something that I have been longing for all this time. I was not able to get it, and so on and so forth. That is the kind of thinking that a normal person might have. But who has altruistic joy might think, oh, I can't afford to have that. But then he is fortunate enough. He has done good karma. He has been able to get what he wanted. I too must try, and maybe I might also get what I want. But I'm not going to feel jealous or envious about it. So that is altruistic joy, to be happy about the other person's success. Then the fourth one, equanimity, is when you have all these three other qualities, it is easier to be equanimous because equanimity in the mind, that is where it starts, and then it goes into your actions, right? So, what is meant by equanimity? It means now, whether you now I'll give you an example. Now, Buddha one day, every day he goes on the alms round. So when he went on the alms round one day, it so happened that the people in that village did not give him anything. He didn't get anything. So he just came out. Then it says that Mara, you might have heard of Mara, perhaps. Mara is the one who, if you think of Mara as a being, Mara is the one who is always against the Buddha, because Mara's ideas are totally against the Buddha. Because Buddha, what he is trying to do is to make to help people not to suffer, to help people to get out of suffering, to help people to get out of this world, to liberate themselves. But Mara wants us to continue. So that is the difference. Not that Mara is actually a cruel person, but Mara is supposed to be one who wants us to go on and on in samsara. So that is why he comes and asks the Buddha, so did you get anything to eat? Dana? Buddha can recognize Mara. Mara, you didn't allow the people to give me dana. Now you come and ask me this question. And whether I have dana or whether I don't have dana, I am happy. It's the same to me. So that is equanimity. So now it is a very difficult thing to practice equanimity, because supposing someone comes and scolds you for nothing, you might feel unhappy about it. You might want to react to it. But if you don't react, if you think, it's of no use to react, I will just be silent, then there is equanimity, right? So these are the 4 qualities that go into the Brahma Vihara, right? So now, today I'm going to take the first one, that is Mettā. Mettā, or loving friendliness or loving kindness, is something that we could practice in our everyday life. Why is it important? Because when we do Mettā, it is going to help not only me, but others too, right? All these 4 will be the same, but Mettā doesn't need any kind of action all the time. Even without action, even if you meditate and you radiate Mettā to the whole world, still it is workable. Still it is, it does something. It changes the world, right? So you know that everything is impermanent. So the impermanence can be not only for the bad side, but also for the good side, right? So when you meditate and when you radiate Mettā to the whole world, at least it can happen that some parts of the world even may, react to that Mettā, get the Mettā, and become, better in so many senses, right? I mean, maybe economically, maybe about peace or whatever it is, right? Now there is a lot of war going on all over the world. So it is up to us we can't go there and, do anything about it. But we can send Mettā. That is something that we could do. Now, Mettā, or loving friendliness or loving kindness, is something that the Buddha said, if you practice even for 1 moment, is better than, doing so much of other things, other good things that you could do. Better than all that, if you spend 1 minute even doing Mettā. So you can see the power of Mettā. So that is why I brought this book. This has the Mettā, that is the benefits of Mettā, right? The benefits of Mettā, what you can get by practicing Mettā. Now let me read it out to you. Oh dear. I'm a very bad pupil. Now you're great. Thank you. Okay. So Buddha says, now this is the discourse on the benefits of loving friendliness, right? Now you can see in this is the Bhavana book, so that the word kindness, instead of kindness, it is friendliness that is used. So anyway, this is called Mettani Samsa Sutta in Pali. So I'll read out to you the benefits of Mettā. Bhikkhus, this is the Buddha saying, right? Bhikkhus, there are 11 benefits from the practice of loving friendliness that arise from the emancipation of the heart. Now you can see, now what is the meaning of emancipation of the heart? Now that is the beauty of it, right? That now emancipation means some kind of clearance or purification that is done because of this meditation that is done, right? So the Buddha says that there are 11 benefits. If repeated, when you do it once a week or once a month or once a year, it won't be of much use. But you have to repeat it every day, right? So if repeated, develop. Develop means, you develop it. So that now when you start it, you may just use the words. Perhaps, you might just say, may I be well, happy and peaceful, may all the world be happy, and, you might just use the words. But the words become meaningful when you do it from the heart, right? So that means now, if repeated, develop. Now that is what it means by develop, right? So develop. Made much of. Can you see? Made much of. These are the Buddha's words. Made a habit of. Now, we usually make habits of eating or drinking or taking drugs or, these are the kind of habits that we make. But here the Buddha says, make a habit of practicing Mettā, right? So, made much of, made a habit of, made a basis. That is, now even if you are using other meditations like the Anapanasati, you may be familiar with it. That is the in-breath and out-breath, right? Breathing. Even if you are using that, the basis, that is, first start with the Mettā, right? So the basis, made a basis. Experience, that is, now you have to experience this first. Now, when you do the Mettā meditation, usually you do, may I be well and happy. May I be, you start with yourself. That doesn't mean that you are being selfish. Now, if you can't love yourself, how can you love others? Isn't that the, way it is? So that means you have to, now there are certain people who abuse their own self by taking drugs or by taking alcohol or, it's like taking poison inside. So when you abuse your own body, when you abuse your own self, how can that body, give you what you want? But here the Buddha says, experience. Experience of what? Experiencing Mettā. That is, you experience the Mettā first and then you radiate it to others. Right? So, experience. Practice. You have to practice it. Well undertaken. 11 benefits are expected. What 11? Right? What 11? What are the 11 benefits? One, sleeps well. Hands up those who sleep well. So you see, one sleeps well. One gets up well. In the morning or whatever time you get up well. You don't stay, thinking, lolling in bed and so on. One does not have nightmares, right? One does not have nightmares. One is pleasing to human beings. So one becomes pleasing to other human beings, right? Because you have Mettā. One is pleasing to non-human beings. I don't know whether you believe that there are non-human beings. Now, even if you take animals as non-human, even animals, they don't hurt you, But there are other beings too, like, the Buddha says there are Petas, right? That is these ghosts, and there are devils who have lived a very, very violent life on this earth. They are the ones who become devils. So, so that is why it's very, very important not to encourage violence, not to be violent, and even not to watch violence. Now, lots of people, what do you see on TV? I of course never see TV, but I mean, on TV, very often, what do you see? It's violence. It's good not to watch it. So, anyway, uh, one is pleasing to non human beings. Then, the deities protect one. So, if there are deities, if there are other devas, like, they will protect you wherever you go. If you are falling into some kind of trouble, they will see that it doesn't happen. So, neither fire nor poison nor a weapon affect one. So, you can't be hurt by in such a way you can't be hurt. One's mind becomes calm immediately. Now, very often we try to meditate and our mind does not become calm. It's very difficult to make our mind, come to a certain state to concentrate. But when you are a metta meditator, naturally the mind becomes calm immediately. One's complexion brightens. I'm sure you all are interested in that. One's complexion becomes, you become beautiful. So, one dies without confusion. Now that's another thing. I have seen people both ways. Some who have struggled and struggled and struggled and shouts and, they are so scared of death. But on the other hand, there are some people who just pass off as if they are, they are sleeping. So I think everybody would like to go like that. So therefore, we must practice metta. So, and beyond that, if one does not comprehend the highest, now, if one does not comprehend the highest means if you don't become enlightened, right? One goes to the world of the Brahmas. Now there you see, if you practice metta, you will become a Brahman. But of course, I don't advise you to wish for the Brahma world. Can you tell me why?
Because they're still stuck in samsara. Still stuck in samsara.
Yes, that's also one reason. It's a very, very long life. Yeah. You will go on and on, eons and eons in the Brahma world. So what is the point? If you cannot improve yourself, So now that is what the Buddha says, right? Bhikkhus, these are the 11 benefits from the practice of loving friendliness. So it's a repetition of the earlier one. So that is those are the benefits of practicing metta. So far, have you any questions about metta or one of the others? Okay. So before I continue, I like to tell you a story. I don't know whether you like stories. I like them, of course, but I don't know about you.
Stories.
Do you mind that story? Perhaps some of you might know this story also. But still it tells you the power of metta. Now there was a girl called Uttara. Now, of course, those who know might know this is the story that's coming. So anyway, so this girl was married to a non-Buddhist. she was a very, very strong disciple of the Buddha, and her parents were also like that. But she was married to a non-Buddhist. At that time, even today it happens, someone who's a Buddhist might marry a Catholic or one of the other religions. It happened. Now, in this case, you know why it happened? Because this girl's father was a Brahmin, you know, belonging to the higher class, but very poor. Because he was poor, he had to work under a richer Brahmin, and he was, cultivating a piece of land for the other person. One day, when he went into the field, he found that there was gold in the field, right? So that is how he became rich. Now, I won't tell you you can read the story, it's in the Dhammapada. So then, after becoming rich, now that the rich man had a son, he wanted this girl to get married to his son. Now the father of Uttara could not refuse, owing to there was no other reason, but because he was an non-Buddhist, could not refuse because he had earlier helped him by giving him a job. So therefore he gave the daughter. The daughter also didn't like it very much, but still, they are very obedient, So she got married to him. And after some time, she found that she could not go to meet the Buddha, she could not listen to the sermons, she could not give dana to the bhikkhus and the Buddha. She couldn't do anything. She was stuck there at home because they were non-Buddhists, right? The husband and the family. So she wrote to the father that this is the situation. I'm very unhappy. I can't, do the things that I used to do. What am I to do? You have given me marriage to this person who is a non-Buddhist. So I'm suffering. So the father quickly sent a lot of money to her, to replace her while she was doing her own things, right? So she got a prostitute to replace her with the husband. So at that time, that was permissible. So anyway, so her name was Sirima, right? And Sirima was also a beautiful woman. Uttara was also a beautiful girl, right? So anyway, now Uttara had the freedom to prepare dana, to go and listen to the Buddha and, practice the religion. She was very happy. And she herself would go to the kitchen and, cook with the servants. Now she had enough servants because they were very rich. But she would go herself and, prepare for the Buddha and the bhikkhus. So one day she was preparing, doing things, and her whole body was covered with perspiration. The husband was looking from somewhere and saw her and thought, this one, she can be the head of this house and have all the luxuries that she wants. But there she is. What a poor specimen she is. She is there and just, perspiring and smelling and doing all the cooking and things like that, when she could be so happy and, lead a luxurious life. And he smiled, thinking like that. Now, Sirima saw this smile and thought that the husband was smiling with the wife. And she felt, now there you find that altruistic joy is not there. So she was very angry. And she thought, okay, I will teach her a lesson. And she went to the kitchen and boiled a pot of oil. Boiled it, mind you. And then she took it to where Uttara was and threw it at her. Now, Uttara, from her childhood, had been practicing Mettā, right? So, because of her Mettā, she just radiated metta to Sirima. So how did she do that? She thought, when I wanted to do my practice, when I wanted to listen to the Buddha, when I wanted to make dana for them, she's the one who helped me. So I need not get angry with her. And she spread metta to her so that the oil did not fall on her. It fell somewhere else, right? So that now Sirima got very scared, right? So she came and prostrated herself at the feet of Uttara and said, "Please forgive me. I lost my mind." And Uttara said, "I will forgive you if my father forgives you." So, so Sirima said, "All right, I will go and meet I can't remember the name of the father, Uttara's father." Uh, then Uttara said, "No, I am not talking of the father who brought me to suffer into this world. I am talking of the Buddha who is my spiritual father. So if he forgives you, I will forgive you." And then both of them went to the Buddha. And then the told the story to the Buddha. And then I can't remember the exact verse, of course, of the Dhammapada. I was too lazy to look for it here, and I didn't find it. But I mean, you can look for it. What it means is, the Buddha said, those who do not react with anger to the person who shows anger towards you is one who practices metta, and that person is the one who gains, who really gains in this life. And he said, you can forgive this one. So then Uttara also forgave her. And after listening to the Buddha, you know what happened? Even this prostitute became a stream endeavor. So that is the story. And why did she not get burned? Because of metta. So you can see the out of the 11 benefits, can you see that one benefit that has come? No one can sort of harm you if you practice metta. So therefore, it is a very, very great power that you are creating within yourself when you practice metta. So I think that's enough for that. But I would like to give you, you might be knowing this also, there is a certain discourse on loving friendliness, Haraniya Metta Sutta. So if you like, I will give you the sutta. Which language would you like, Pali or English? Please say, don't be shy. Of course. Now, this can be divided into two parts, actually, 2 or 3 parts. The first part is about, now when you listen carefully, you will see for yourself. The first part is how to make yourself suitable to practice metta. Right? Now, that is the first part. Then it starts, the meditation part starts. One skilled in good, wishing to attain that state of peace, should act thus. One should be able, straight, upright, obedient, gentle, and humble. Can you see the qualities that you have to practice? One should be content, easy to support. Especially this is for monastic, but for lay people too. With few duties, living lightly, controlled in senses, discreet, not impudent, unattached to families. Of course, not that part is not for the lay people. One should not do any slight wrong which the wise might censure. Now you start the meditation. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long or large, medium, short, subtle or gross. That is the size of the beings, right? Visible or invisible, living near or far, may born or coming to birth. Now there are some beings who are already born now. The child, now we are all already born. But there are others who are still in the womb. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will, should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. And you see, Buddha very often takes the mother as an example. Buddha hardly takes the father, but takes the mother, right? And even we in Sri Lanka, that is in Sinhala, we say Buddha Mani. Buddha Mani means the Buddha mother. But we say Buddha father too. That is Buddha Piya, Buddha Piyano. That means the Buddha as the father, Buddha as the mother. So one should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless, loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, or sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness, right? That is all the time, not only when you meditate and sit down and meditate, but even when you are, doing your work or whatever, practice it. This is called dwelling, divinely dwelling here. Now that is the divinely dwelling is Brahma Vihara, right? That is Brahma Vihara, like the Brahma. Not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures, one comes never again to birth in the womb. So if you don't want to come back to a womb, this is the way. So any questions if you have, please ask.
I can ask a question. So you mentioned metta meditation as a way of like starting with yourself and then sort of expanding from there. Are there any other like recommended or like good ways to practice metta on like a day-to-day basis?
You mean other than meditation? So meditation is the sitting meditation, or it could be even walking meditation, but whatever it is, meditation means it is something to do with the mind only. But meditation, what metta can be put into practice too, by helping others, by looking after the destitute, the the sick. Like Mother Teresa, for instance, now she was a Catholic nun right from the start till the end. But of metta she had. So she had no compunction, no revulsion towards touching lepers or whoever was sick or anything. Now we wouldn't think of touching like that, isn't that so? We would be a little sort of, we'll draw back a little. But she was not like that. Why is that? That is metta. So putting it into practice is not easy. But of course, sitting and radiating metta is very easy. But if you put it into practice as such, then it is not so easy. But if we can do that, that will make our path, path towards liberation quicker. Because, it means letting go of ego. It is our ego that makes us not do certain things that we feel repulsive or. Now, there is a sutta called Devadutta Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. And in that sutta, a man who has done very bad things has gone to the hell. And they are the head of the hell region called King Yama. This man is taken in front of him. And then King Yama asks, did you see the first divine messenger? Right? Here. He asked the man. And the man says, no, I didn't see. Why you didn't see shouting, calling, and little baby born lying on her? He saw her excreta or urine, and have you not seen it? Then the man said, yes, I have seen. And you didn't think that you also was like that at some time? You didn't think like that? So like that he goes on, right? Yama, King Yama asked the second time about, an old man, then a sick man, and like that. He asked questions. And they are called all divine messengers. Because when we see, now even when we go to a funeral, to a place where somebody has died, we don't think of our own death. We never see that body. We will also one day be like that. We never think like that. So what is important is to think like that. It is then that our ego will vanish. Because it is this ego that plays all this havoc inside us and makes us do things that we really don't want to do, but still we do. So practicing is not only through meditation, it can be actual action too. And all four can be practiced. All four. Kindness, altruistic joy, equality. All can be practiced. Any other questions? Those young ones? No? Nobody has a question. Okay, then we will next walking meditation.
Do you want to lead or do you want one of us to lead?
One of you.
I guess I'll go actually. Okay, so that's So normally what we've done in the past is we all walk as a group and we walk all the way around. Is there like a path that we follow? Just wander? Okay. Do you want to explain walking meditation?